In this bonus tutorial, we're going to use Inkscape to draw the angled tiles, the ones we're going to use to add slopes to the game. Inkscape is a free and open source program available on every platform that you can download on their website. One thing you'll notice is the current version is 0.92. By the time you watch this video, 1.0 might be out. This is the version I'm using that's currently in beta to do this tutorial. Now, let us get started. So once you've downloaded and loaded Inkscape, you have an interface that looks more or less like that. And we're going to take the assets from the game, the tile set file, and open it with Inkscape. So I'm going to copy its path here, and in Inkscape, go to File, Open, and paste the path with Control V, or on Linux I have to do Control L to go to the path bar, then paste with Control V, like so. And I'm going to open the file that way. You can press the 5 key to fit the page to the view. To see, well, our tile set is not very interesting, is it? We're going to add more tiles. We're going to add more cells to it. But to get started doing that, we need to configure the document. So the shortcut is Control-Shift-D, and it ended on the other screen. So Document Properties, and you should be able to find it in File, Document Properties, down there. This allows you to set the size of the page being that page area that gets drawn on the screen behind us. You can also set the grid that way that we can use to snap when drawing. So I'm going to set up the page here. I'll keep the original document. I want to add a 45-degree slope and a slightly less angled half slope to my tile set. So we need 2 more rows in the document. The height being 80, we're going to multiply this by 3. So you can enter times 3 in the box, press enter, and this will expand the document moving down. Now we're going to use the grid as well. When you go to view, you can show the page grid with the hashtag key. And you want to set it up to create the grid in your document properties window. You go to the grids, you want to create a new rectangular grid here. Click the new button. It's going to make the grid appear. If it does not, you want to press that hashtag key to toggle it on and off. And we're going to set it up so that the origin is at 0. That is to say, it starts in the top left of the page here. Our tiles are 80 times 80 pixels. So we're going to use a spacing of 80 times 80. Well, not exactly. I'm going to divide that by 2 so that we have points we can snap to that we can use as guides when drawing. So I'm going to use 40 times 40 and change the major grid line every 2 cells. This way, we have a clear separation of the tiles here. This is the slightly thicker line that indicates that. And that's it. With that, you can close. You can also use dots instead of lines. If you want to only see the dots, you can snap to, but I prefer to have the grid the way it is now. So we're going to draw a few tiles, the 45-degree angle slope here, and at the bottom we'll do the 22.5 degrees one. You'll see why we have these angles. It's just because it's much easier working in pixels like we do to create the elements. The first thing I'm going to do is use the eyedropper tool with the I key, and I'm going to click on the blue of the starting tile set because we want to have the same color. And I'm also going to shift click outside of the page. You use that to make the stroke color transparent, fully transparent. Then we're going to press the R key to select the rectangle tool, and you can click and drag, create a 1-cell tile here. Okay, so this gives us a square to start with. We want to make this a slope, a triangle. So press the F2 key to select the node selection tool, and we are going to go to Path, Object to Path, to convert our special rectangle object to a regular path where, with that tool selected, the F2 one, you can click and drag on the corner points and manipulate your vector drawing however you'd like. So we're going to select the top left corner by clicking and dragging in the view, and delete to remove the point. Now we also want to make the other points not smooth like they are right now. So select the other vertices in your path, and you want to click, I think it is that one, the icon that will allow you to make the selected node's corner. That way we have a 45-degree slope. We'll use that to kind of set a limit as to what the character can climb. Select the selection tool with the S key. You can also press F1, Control C to copy the shape, place your cursor on the cell on the right, and Control V to paste it. So copy and paste in Inkscape works like where you place your cursor when you press Control V is the place you will paste your object. And I think it is snapped automatically so that you can see it nicely fits the cell. I want to make my slope half the angle. So to do so, I'm going to do F2, get the node selection tool once again, and select the top node in my view. Then click and drag it down so that the slope is half as steep, so that it's half the original size. So this gives us a nice slope that our character will be able to walk onto. The only problem with that is that when you use the tile set in Godot, well, the tiles are going to work this way. You can either place it here or place it on the cell above in our tile map, which is not what we want. We want to be able to place slopes that way so that they align with one another. And the way you do that with a tile set like ours is by creating another cell where the slope is going to start where the tile on the left ends, and we are going to fill the bottom part here. Press R again to select the rectangle tool and click and drag while snapping to fill the remainder of our tile here. Then I'm going to press S to get the selection tool, click and drag to select these three tiles all at once, and click and drag them to place them at the bottom of the document so that our tiles are nicely aligned. And there will be one empty cell here for another tile that we would add later. Note that you can create your texture or your tiles however you want. You don't have to expand the document going down. You could have expanded it horizontally. It's really up to you. But once you arrive there, you will want to save your picture. So the way to do so is to export it in Inkscape, because we are working with vector drawing, with geometric shapes if you want, and not with pixels directly. So we have to convert it to a PNG image. You can press Shift-Control-E to open the Export Docker on the right. There, you want to select Page for the export area, so it exports the entire page, our entire document. Then we want to ensure that our image size is correct here, 160 times 240. And you have to enter the name, the path where the file will export. So I'm going to go back to my file system and copy the path to the tileset image again. Then I'm going to paste it in the file name field so that when I click the export button, it's going to overwrite the file. I also want to uncheck hide all except selected, otherwise it's not going to export unselected shapes. I'll click export now. It's going to tell me that the file exists, so I'm going to replace it. And going back to my file system tab, you will see that we have our new tileset.png exported.